good day. Welcome back to a chapter a day. Happy Thursday. I'm sorry, happy Wednesday. My goodness, I'm rushing the week. And today we are going to be reading 2 Samuel chapter 15. Yesterday we touched on how Absalom was brought back to the palace after he was banished, and the king refused to see his face. So after 2 years, he decided to kind of get Joab's attention by burning his field. So Joab came to him and he told Joab he would like to see the king, and the king consented, brought him back, and let's see what happens now. Chapter 15. And it came to pass after this that Absalom prepared him chariots and horses and 50 men to run before him. And Absalom rose up early and stood beside the way of the gate. And it was so that when any man had a controversy, came to the king for judgment, then Absalom called unto him and said, Of what city art thou? And he said, Thy servant is of one of the tribes of Israel. And Absalom said unto him, See, thy matters are good and right, but there is no man deputed of the king to hear thee. Absalom said moreover, Oh, that I were made judge in the land, that every man which hath any suit or cause might come unto me, and I would do him justice. And it was so, that when any man came nigh to him to do him obeisance, he put forth his hand and took him and kissed him. So here's what Absalom is setting himself up for, to take the place of his father David. Yeah, treason in your own home. Yeah. Absalom is trying to put himself as king. He's hearing complaints, which is what the king usually does, kissing the people, which is like a sign of, they are your servants or citizens, whatever. And here he goes. Let's see what happens. Verse 6. And on this manner did Absalom to all Israel that came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. And it came to pass after 40 years that Absalom said unto the king, I pray thee, let me go and pay my vow, which I have vowed unto the Lord, in Hebron. For thy servant vowed a vow while I abode at Geshur in Syria, saying, If the Lord shall bring me again indeed to Jerusalem, then I will serve the Lord. And the king said unto him, Go in peace. So he arose and went to Hebron. But Absalom sent spies throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, As soon as you hear the sound of the trumpet, then you shall say, Absalom reigneth in Hebron. Okay, so Absalom has gone to the king for permission. I guess, I'm not sure if he cannot leave the city without his father's or the king's permission. So he gets it, and he sets up some men, and like if he's being coronated, okay? As we would say here, maybe inaugurated to become leader or king. And he tells the men to set up a sound of a trumpet. So when they hear it, everyone will shout out that he reigneth. Now this is happening, they say, 40 years after the previous incident with him and Amnon. So I don't know how old he was. I'm thinking they were late teens to early 20s. I'm thinking more late teens. But the deviousness has been in Absalom a long time, from early o'clock. Verse 11. And with Absalom went 200 men out of Jerusalem that were called, and they went in their simplicity, and they knew not anything. And Absalom sent for Ahithophel the Gilonite, David's counselor from his city, even from Gilo, while he offered sacrifices. And the conspiracy was strong, for the people increased continually with Absalom. And there came a messenger to David, saying, The hearts of the men of Israel are after Absalom. And David said unto all his servants that were with him at Jerusalem, Arise, and let us flee, for we shall not else escape from Absalom. Make speed to depart, lest he overtake us suddenly and bring evil upon us, and smite the city with the edge of the sword. And the king's servants said unto the king, Behold, thy servants are ready to do whatsoever my lord the king shall appoint. So the king heard of what Absalom is doing, and he has sent for one of David's counselors. So he's really and truly trying to get as many people from inside David's kingdom to work for him. That's usually what people who are trying to overthrow a power will do. They will find people closest to the leader to see if they can put them against the leader. How does that sound to you? What happened in heaven? That's exactly what Satan did. That's very demonic. That's how you can tell when somebody has Satan working with them. Verse 16. So what David is now saying to his household, he's not staying to fight. He's looking to run away from Absalom and his impending army. Verse 16. And the king went forth and all his household after him, and the king left 10 women, which were concubines, to keep the house. And the king went forth and all the people after him, and tarried in a place that was far off. And all his servants passed on beside him, and all the Cherethites, and all the Pelethites, and all the Gittites. 600 men which came after him from Gath passed on before the king. Then said the king to Ittai the Gittite, Wherefore goest thou also with us? Return to thy palace, and abide with the king, for thou art a stranger and also an exile. Whereas thou camest but yesterday, should I this day make thee go up and down with us, seeing I go whither I may? Return thou, and take back thy brethren. Mercy and truth be with thee. So he is kind of giving this man that's going with him not a good report, maybe because he's a new person. Maybe, I'm not sure why he's sending him away. But anyway, verse 21. And Ittai answered the king. So David has left his palace. He's left 10 concubines back to take care of the palace. And he and the rest of the people are fleeing from Absalom, his son. That's what the Lord said. The sword shall never depart from thy household. Verse 21. And Ittai answered the king and said, As the Lord liveth, and as my lord the king liveth, surely in what place my lord the king shall be, whether in death or life, even there also will thy servant be. Very honorable. And David said to Ittai, Go and pass over. And Ittai the Gittite passed over, and all his men, and all the little ones that were with him. And all the country wept with a loud voice, and all the people passed over. The king also himself passed over the brook Kedron, and all the people passed over toward the way of the wilderness. And lo, Zadok also and all the Levites were with him, bearing the ark of the covenant of God. And they set down the ark of God, and Abiathar went up until all the people had done passing out of the city. And the king said unto Zadok, Carry back the ark of God unto the city. If I should find favor in the eyes of the Lord, he will bring me again and show me both it and his habitation. So it's like an exodus from the city of David, looking for refuge from Absalom. They have Abiathar the priest. They usually try to have a priest with them so the priest can officiate between they and God. And Zadok is that priest. Oh, Abiathar was the priest. Okay. Verse 26. But if he thus say, I have no delight in thee, behold, here am I, let him do to me as seemeth good unto him. The king said also unto Zadok the priest, Art not thou a seer? Return into the city in peace, and your 2 sons with you, Ahimaaz thy son, and Jonathan the son of Abiathar. See, I will tarry in the plain of the wilderness until there come word from you to certify me. Zadok therefore and Abiathar carried the ark of God again to Jerusalem, and they tarried there. And David went up by the ascent of Mount Olivet and wept as he went up. Doesn't that sound like Jesus going up? I think Jesus went up the same mount, weeping. And had his head covered, and he went barefoot, and all the people that was with him covered every man his head, and they went up weeping as they went up. Now David is getting older. This is stressful. Your son is after you to kill you after 40 years, maybe that they were not even having war. But Absalom was plotting this in his mind whole time. David did not have the ark go forward with them. He told Zadok, take it back. If God is going to help me, he's going to help me. If not, then so be it. Verse 31. And one told David, saying, Ahithophel is among the conspirators with Absalom. And David said, O Lord, I pray thee, turn the counsel of Ahithophel into foolishness. And it came to pass that when David was come to the top of the mount where he worshipped God, behold, Hushai the Archite came to meet him with his coat rent, and earth upon his head. Unto whom David said, If thou passest on with me, then thou shalt be a burden unto me. But if thou return to the city and say unto Absalom, I will be thy servant, O king, as I have been thy father's servant hitherto, so will I now also be thy servant. Then mayest thou for me defeat the counsel of Ahithophel. And hast thou not there with thee Zadok and Abiathar the priests? Therefore it shall be that what things soever thou shalt hear out of the king's house, thou shalt tell it to Zadok and Abiathar the priest. So he's kind of using this guy Hushai as a spy to go back to his son Absalom to confound or counteract the counsel of Ahithophel. Verse 36. Behold, they have there with them their two sons, Ahimaaz Zadok's son, and Jonathan Abiathar's son. And by them you shall send unto me everything that you can hear. So Hushai, David's friend, came into the city, and Absalom came into Jerusalem. And that's the end of chapter 15. We will hear more as to what happens between this battle between Absalom and his father David. The sword shall never depart from thy house. That was one of David's consequences for his wrongdoing previously with Uriah's wife. And then killing Uriah. Our sin have consequences. So that's it for today. Until our next reading, keep listening because faith comes when we hear God's word. Take care. Bye.